Okay, I've decided that I need to make this video now or I'm going to continue to go crazy. We followed the coast day and night, and the next day, towards sunset, we sighted a city or town so large that Seville would not have appeared bigger or better. One saw there was a very large tower. On the shore was a great throng of Indians who bore two standards, which they raised and lowered to signal us to approach them. The commander did not wish it. The same day, we came to a beach near which was the highest tower we had seen. Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, don't worry, we all are. Today I would like to talk to you about a place called Tulum in New Mexico. No, Old Mexico. Tulum was home to a little civilization that are called the Maya, and I'm sure you've never ever heard of the Maya. They only predicted the end of the world in 2012. And I'm starting to think that they were right. I would like to talk about how they dealt with physical and astronomical concepts in particular, and see what we can glean from all of their still standing buildings in Tulum. We think Tulum was originally called Zama, which is the Mayan word for dawn or city of dawn. And it's a very fitting name because Zama was the very easternmost city in the entire Maya civilization. And so they were the first to see the sunrise and the first to see the sunset every single day. One of the first things that you'll find about Tulum is that it was a very central trading hub. All different types of goods, from the highlands to the lowlands and everything in between, and the cloud forests, were brought through Tulum. One of the most important goods in the Maya civilization were cacao beans.
Did you say
Cacao beans? Those cacao beans were divine. They were offered to gods. They made these cacao drinks, which were thought of as exclusive to those that were higher up. And it was so valuable that people even hollowed out cacao beans and filled them up with mud as a form of counterfeit currency. That was documented in a book by Co. & Co., The True History of Chocolate. And I am positive that they did that on purpose. It was made by cocoa for cocoa. Tulum was a key city towards the end of the Maya civilization, around 1200 CE when it was built. But just as well connected as Tulum was to the rest of the civilization and beyond, it was just as closed off. Surrounding Tulum on 3 of 4 sides is very thick walls. Those walls enclosing Tulum were about 8 meters thick. You basically had a few hallways where the people of Tulum would allow people to go through. You can see that people would have a very hard time getting into the city from those walls if people did not want you there. On the ocean side of Tulum, there was the ocean, and you're not going to get through the ocean just by walking, unless you're Jesus. Given that Tulum was a very central trading hub, they did want people to make it in. So people arrived on the shore of Tulum with canoes full of goods from all across the land. And even if the people of Tulum wanted absolute free entry by way of boats, the second largest barrier reef in the world might have something to say about that. And because a lot of the coral was inches right below the ocean surface, the canoes might get shredded by the coral and lose all their cargo, even though no-go water, cargo road. But the people of Tulum did want these canoes to get through so that they can trade on the beach, where the only thing that they're trading now is the occasional fire between birds and baby sea turtles. One of the most consistent pieces of information that you get with regards to Tulum's architecture, with regards to either astronomy or physics, is this lighthouse. And the building that they used as the lighthouse was the biggest building that Juan Diaz probably spoke of in his first account on Tulum shore, called El Castillo. This was kind of lost knowledge between when the city fell and 1982, when Michael Kramer looked backwards up at El Castillo and saw that there were these two slightly differently shaped windows on the upper level. And I'll let him explain his motivation and thoughts.
And I noticed that it had a pair of windows facing seawards. They were absolutely distinct, different, and I couldn't believe that was an accident or sloppy workmanship, and there must have been a reason for that.
Oh, basically what he found was that during the daytime, there were these two lower level windows that were much farther apart on either side of El Castillo on the lower level. And the light, as you approach the opening of the coral reef, you could see light starting to come through from one of the closer window. And then as he got closer to the inlet, he would start to see the other window illuminate from the light from the sky. And once they were around the same brightness, then you can make a hard left or right into Tulum, and hopefully you will make it there safe and sound to the beach. Based on years of extensive research, I have independently verified and found myself, original discovery, that at night the sun is not in the sky. But apparently, the Maya not only had very good calendars, they also had a very good time machines, because I think they stole my idea and figured out that since there is no sunlight at night, they would need another plan. So they built windows in the upper level, the windows that Michael Kramer recognized as seemingly different shapes. One of those windows were slightly taller. And the other one was slightly wider. Also, these windows were going through thick walls, and so the light was beaming out in a cone towards the ocean. And so we found that as you approached the opening of the reef from the side, parallel to the shore, then you would start to see the wider window illuminate, because it has a wider cone, slightly larger than the opening of the coral reef. And that's kind of your get ready signal. And then as you move closer in that same direction, you would see the smaller window, the narrower window, start to illuminate as well. And again, once those reach the same brightness, you can hold that brightness steady and head safely into the cove. Oh, and you might have noticed that one of these windows is taller than the other. Why couldn't they just have made it narrower instead of also taller? If you narrow the window, but you don't increase the height, then the total dimensions are going to lead to a smaller area. But if you increase the height, you can compensate for the area for the wider window. So that helps, because if you have the same area opening, then you can have the same brilliance, the same luminosity of light, same flux, the same brightness. Hello, it's me, the editor. You can tell I'm the editor because I'm wearing a different shirt. I wanted to jump in here and say that the reason why I was struggling with all those different words is because they all mean slightly different things if you're thinking about it in precise terms, especially in the scientific context. But I wanted to say what I think the actual right phrasing is. So basically, if you have the same intensity going into the windows on the inside of the tower, so that means the same amount of photons per area. If you have a different area, then you're going to see a different amount of photons on the other side of the window. But if you have the same area, then you get the same area of photons on the other side of the window. So then you see the same flux, which is just how many photons reach your eye. That's really all I wanted to say. Thanks. And then you can assume that the same brightness means that you're directly in the middle of the windows and you can head straight in. So really cool. This previous part was very simple to find the information, but I got more curious. I wanted to find more information about other sorts of alignments in their architecture. And most sites that you will see online will say something to the effect, regarding Tulum, will say something to the effect that Tulum aligns or has some building that aligns with the equinox. Something aligns with the equinox, or something else aligns with solstice. And I went in pretty confident that I could find an answer to this. And at this point, I am pretty skeptical that there is an answer at all. In the middle of recording the next part of this video, I realized that it was getting to be a long time of recording, and I want to not have everyone drop out in the middle of the video or in the first 5% of the video. So what I'm going to do is split this off into another parts. And also, one of my mics died, so even the technology is telling me to wrap this up. So I'm going to call it quits here. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, share, subscribe, make sure you're notified. I'll be waiting for you. I'll see you in the next video.